Check 1 2, check 1 2, check 1 2. A beautiful, beautiful Nashville, Tennessee on a 17th of February, 2026. We have the Stadium Pulse. Ladies and gentlemen, if you've never seen this Baylor sweatshirt, this Reveille hat, the pennants behind me, this mustache, my name is Tegan Randolph, your host for all things college football. Also got to shout out the addition right here, the addition to the page, to the channel, Super Bowl champion Tegan Randolph, the Stadium Pulse. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a jam-packed show for you. A little bit of a laid-back chill. You know, it's a little cloudy outside. We're going to have a chill Stadium Pulse episode today, mainly for the fact if you ever have those days where you're just exhausted and no matter the amount of caffeine, like maybe even like a 20-minute nap, you've been productive, but you're just exhausted at the end of the day. That's kind of how we are right now. We wouldn't be on the injury report, no questionable, no doubtful. We were full go, just maybe a little rusty, a little having an off day. I think that's where we're at. But to run you through what we're going to be talking about today, I have not been able to talk about North Dakota State and Sacramento State both joining Division I football, which I think is the most underrated story of the entire offseason. Yeah, it's also the most recent, but I love this topic of discussion about conference realignment, contrary to what we've become accustomed to with conference realignment. We'll also talk a little bit about the Big Ten and the SEC. I may have to have a confession. And I know Chris is sometimes he'll watch these. I gotta switch sides, and we'll talk about that. If you've watched this page, you know what I'm talking about. But nonetheless, we're a couple minutes into the show. I just need to shout two things out. Two main things. Take 15 seconds of your time. Number one, a lot of the analytics say that you guys watch these videos, but you don't click the subscribe button. It's completely free. It supports the page, and it gets you more content. Simple sugar. Number two, shout out to Crutchman Media. Crutchman Media powers everything around here. It would mean the world if you guys gave the other pages an opportunity because they are trying to build something really special. I'm also trying to help them do that. So you're going to throw me a bone. I'm trying to help you guys out with some additional content because they do great stuff around here. Well, let's dive in. North Dakota State joining Division I is a seamless fit. It just feels right. Them joining the Mountain West Conference just feels right. We have been waiting years and years for North Dakota State football to put on the big boy pants, to stop beating up on the Division II area, because if you do not know about North Dakota State football, let me give you an education on the Alabama of Division II. Now, when I say the Alabama of Division II, people may say, oh, well, I guess they just won a lot, and it's just a couple championships here and there. No, wrong. Freeze frame. You're probably wondering how you got here. 11 championships. Oh, wait, hold on. Let me read that correct. It's 10 championships. My bad. 10 championships over the entire school history. That's good. That's really good, right? No, my bad. 2011. That's 10 championships since 2011. I didn't even realize this, mainly for the fact that at the time I was really starting to get into just college football. I frankly didn't even know Division II existed. They five-peated. That doesn't even seem like that. Like, that seems like something that was made up because they did it. Like, you didn't know what to call it, so we're just going to start adding numbers up, because you've heard of 3-peat, you've heard of all these different things, maybe like 4-peat in some cases, but 5-peat? Like, I get it. Alabama was able to do what they did in Division I. That's obviously more impressive than what North Dakota State was able to do in Division II, but that's insane. That's insane. They're one of only two teams in Division II history to get actual votes for the top 25. Understand that. Really let that sink in. A Division II program was so good in their own division that they actually got votes for the Division I top 25. So when I say finally they make the move to the Mountain West, it really does mean finally, because this is a program that a lot of people got an education on because the hype of the Deion Sanders Colorado era actually had to host North Dakota State. And all of a sudden, that's a relatively competitive game. And you're sitting here looking around and everyone's getting this education because not only did Deion Sanders in Colorado bring a new, I think, new fan base. I really do think, not just like in the Colorado fans, but there was a lot of casual fans that had adopted college football because they were big fans of Deion Sanders and Travis Hunter and Shador. And now they're watching this North Dakota State team actually give them some problems. And you're getting this education on how damn good of a program they've been for quite a long time. And they finally make the jump. Now, there's a lot of other takeaways to discuss about this. Number one, this could end up being a situation where I think North Dakota State could find themselves in a college football playoff sooner rather than later. That's mainly for the fact of not only for them having a winning culture, which should not just get glossed over, but truthfully, the way that they play football is going to win a ton of games. We're not talking about entering the ACC. We're not talking about them joining the Big 12. We are talking about a program that is going to make fundamental, great brand of football. They're not going to make mistakes. They're going to be able to put the ball into your corner and make you make the first mistake. And that's going to win a ton of games, especially in the group of five. And frankly, with the new formed Mountain West, because we're not just talking about like Boise State dominating the Mountain West like we were just talking about 2 years ago. This is conference realignment. This is a new brand of the Mountain West. I think New Mexico might end up being the main source of competition for them. And that's not a bad thing. Like, New Mexico is a very much slept on group of five team, but outside of that, when we see of the continuity that North Dakota State's going to be able to bring to the FBS, they're going to be able to replicate a lot of the success that they had at Division II. Is it going to be winning national championships? No, God, no. There's never going to be a group of five team that wins a national championship, but this is a program that has the foundation of how to win football games. And we'll talk about the inverse with the other team that joined the FBS with Sacramento State. I don't have like these talking points are really difficult to discuss because it just seemed like it made too much sense. North Dakota State's been able to get NFL talent, which is crazy to think about consistently. Obviously, we could talk about Trey Lance, but then there's Christian Watson. There's Gray Zabel this past year. That's a Super Bowl champion right there. You see that Super Bowl champion. I'll reiterate it one more time. Super Bowl champion Gray Zabel from North Dakota State. They've had a winning pedigree. They've been able to replace coaches. I believe it's been 4 coaches since 2011 because obviously, as you continue to win, other Division I schools are going to want those coaches. Now they enter Division I. So they've been able to have this culture that with different regimes has found success. Why would I think anything else is going to change? Why would I think that North Dakota State is not going to do damn good work in the Mountain West? This is a fantastic fit. I think a non-crazy take is in probably 2 years, because to my understanding, they will have to probably request a void year of, if you did not know, when you join from Division II to Division I, you have to wait a year before you are eligible for the postseason. I believe the same thing happened with Sam Houston State and many others. I believe Old Dominion or James Madison is the same case, and they both found some very early success. I think obviously James Madison's the more applicable one with that scenario. But when we see them make that jump, it's been something that they've had just an ounce of success, and you've been fiending to get to that next level. This has been something that has been almost overcooked. Like, we've waited way too long for this. I'm happy it's finally happening. I would also like to note that for college football 27, this instantly becomes the top team to do for a college football dynasty, because what else are you going to do? North Dakota State was like the number one team that was created for a creative team. This is just a seamless fit into college football. This is a great addition. I mean, if you follow Division II football like I do, and I enjoy watching Division II football because I am a fiend for football, I'll watch any version of it. This is just such a great addition for the Mountain West. And I think it's just a seamless fit. There's no real negative takeaways from this. If you enjoy football, you will enjoy North Dakota State football being a part of the ecosystem. And I think they're going to find success. And it wouldn't shock me if they get to a college football playoff. I'm actually stamping that they're going to make a college football playoff run within the next 5 years. But that's not the only team. This one's interesting. Sacramento State is joining the FBS as well as North Dakota State, but this is a different conference. They will be joining the MAC. Now, if you followed college football for quite a long time, maybe you are someone that enjoys putting a $10 here or there, or a unit, or some what they like to say, some coin. You know exactly what I'm talking about when I say some action football. It's the midweek football for the people that can't wait till Saturdays. They turn on their television and they know they're going to get some action football. We're talking about the Miami of Ohio of the world. We're talking about some of the most disgusting football that you can watch, yet it's almost beautiful and poetic at the same time. I love me some action football any day of the week. And now you're adding a team that I have been following for quite a long time. I don't say that lightly. I have been following some Sacramento State football double more than anybody else probably watching this right now. There's a video on my own personal YouTube page, TGR Football, talking about Brennan Marion in the Go-Go offense, and then talking about Brennan Marion in Sacramento State. Now, obviously, he's at Colorado, so it's not as applicable as it used to be, but I have done my research and my due diligence with Sacramento State, and it's truly playing dynasty in college football 26 in real life. They are doing the equivalent of what we see Texas Tech doing at the Group of Five, well, even granular at the time, the Division II level. $40 million invested into this program. If you remember, maybe you don't because you don't follow college football during the offseason, this is a program that was able to get, I believe it was Ryder Lyons, who was the 5-star quarterback that went to BYU, to just visit Sacramento State, which is one of those things where you and I both know that he's not going to go there. This is not a situation where you can just go point at Travis Hunter going to Jacksonville State or Jackson State. That's not going to happen. Like those things are such anomalies. So why did they bring in a 5-star? Because they could, absolutely, but also to get visibility into their program, to get eyes on it, to ask questions as recruits begin to look to their left and right and say, what's Sacramento State doing? Why is Ryder going and visiting there? Why is this 4-star that's committed to Ole Miss going and visiting there? Why did they go hire Brennan Marion? Who's going to go want to play for Sacramento State? They want visibility onto the program. But the one sticking point that had been holding them back in all these conversations, because they don't have the winning pedigree of a North Dakota State. We just talked about it. North Dakota State, it was a seamless fit. It made too much sense for them to go to the FBS. They have more than earned the right to jump up another level. They have gone through the trials and tribulations of over a decade of winning football at Division II. We had more than waited our fair share for them to finally join. Sacramento State is the new kid on the block. They got the money. They are going to buy their way to get into any conference that would allow for them. And they are. $25 million is being spent so that they can join the MAC. And the MAC wasn't the first choice. The MAC was definitely the choice as you get late at the bar, maybe airballed a shot or two, but you always had a backup plan, and you get to 2 a.m., you text that one person. The MAC was that person, for better and for worse. And in my opinion, it's for better because this is so good for college football. I don't think it's going to be in terms of success for Sacramento State. I don't think you're going to get that instant impact of winning like a North Dakota State, because we're comparing apples to oranges here. We're talking about a program that's trying to buy themselves wins, buy themselves some visibility into their school and their program. North Dakota State, people have to damn near beg them to join the FBS because they were winning so much football. And frankly, boosters were feeling bored because they felt like they knew the result of every single season and they needed to elevate their talent level. Sacramento State has just been wanting eyes and to actually start to build up this program for the $40 million that's been invested into their athletics. It's important to note for both of these cases that it's just football, but the best part about this, we don't have to wait for it. It's going to happen in 2026, which is very much exciting. Do we need to have the conversation around why are some of the schools in the MAC now accepting a school in California? Frankly, I don't want the conversation because let's just go look at the ACC. I say this once, I'll say it again. The Atlantic Coastal Conference has teams like Cal and Stanford. What are we doing? What are we doing? So if you want to have the conversation about why is Sacramento State University in a school with the MAC and all the schools that are within it, we could do that song and dance, but frankly, I think it's a moot point because of how broken college football is at this given juncture. I would be a lot more excited if Brendan Marion was still here, but in terms of instant expectations, we talked about how North Dakota State, I think within 5 years, you will see a college football playoff run from this program. Sacramento State, it's going to struggle a little bit. They are changing the coach once again. The talent is getting in there. I mean, let's not forget they had Jaden Rashada in the building just last season. Now he's at Mississippi State. They can bring in talent, but the continuity and the consistency is what's going to make or break this. And that's what concerns me. North Dakota State had a winning pedigree, a program that could change the coaching and still win football games. They have an identity. You know exactly what you're going to get. If I wiped the colors, the logo, you knew exactly what a North Dakota State football Bison football team looks. You don't know that with Sacramento State, and they're making a big risk, a financial risk, by making the jump. But frankly, what else are they supposed to do with the amount of money and expectations that these donors are wanting to get this school on the map? I love it because I'm so interested to see what happens. We will be following this, but I got to hear from you. If you have any reaction to this, and if you don't know about Sacramento State, go check out my page, TGR Football. I got 2 great videos. Well, actually, 1 applicable video on what they were doing just a year prior. I think it's still very much relevant because I talked about the school overall, and I think it's very interesting and one of the most slept on stories in all of college football. Let's get some water real quick, folks, before we get to the last topic of today's show. You gotta give me like a water purifier, man. I'm tired of drinking out of water bottles. Not good for the environment. I know that. It's like smoking a cigarette. I mean, I'm not doing that, but like, you know, it's bad, but people will still do it. Nonetheless, it's time to admit the Big Ten is better than the SEC. Now, for someone that has never seen this page, you may say, well, that's a lukewarm take. I already believe that the Big Ten is better than the SEC. And I hear you. I really do. But if you follow my TikTok, maybe you follow my YouTube, maybe you've been following this page for a while, you know I have been SEC FC for quite a long time. Now, let me explain why I was SEC Pro being the best conference in college football. I thought the SEC, though, didn't have the top-end talent like in Ohio State, like a Michigan back in a couple years ago, in Indiana. I thought the SEC had the depth. And frankly, I still believe they do, but the reality has become this, that the Big Ten this past season not only has been able to scale in terms of recruiting and talent acquisition, but also talent retainment, which has become a big thing, especially in 2026. They've been able to scale in recruiting. They've been able to build out a tier 2 because it wasn't for the fact that they had the national champions, because I think that's such a dumb way of looking at things to say this team has won the national championship for this conference, so they're the best. And I get it. It's been 3 different national champions with Michigan, Ohio State, and Indiana. That is a better argument than just saying, well, the team that won the national championship was a part of this conference, so therefore they're the best conference in college football. That's not how I look at it. It's a complete picture. Do I think the bottom teams in the SEC and the Big Ten, who's better? It's the SEC. Do I think the tier 2 in the SEC is deeper and more talented than the tier 2 in the Big Ten? Yes, but it's so much closer than it once was. Because as I really started to write it down, the Big Ten has the recent success. They've closed the gap, and some people may argue has the better talent acquisition. And I think the talent development and retainment of that talent goes to the Big Ten. And you have the clearly better tier one, because who is the tier one in the SEC nowadays? That's an honest question. Is it Georgia? The same Georgia that, yes, has been able to win that conference, but gets smacked around as soon as they enter the college football playoff for the past couple of years? If we want to live off the merit of the early 2020s, sure, but we're on a rolling scale here. We've gone 3 straight years where it's been just Big Ten dominance. I got to live with those results at the end of the day. And now the Big Ten's been able to build out a tier two. And that tier two, to me, I'll actually give you the tier one just for clarity's sake. The tier one for the Big Ten is Oregon, Ohio State, and Indiana. Then we get to the tier two, which is Michigan, USC, Penn State, Iowa, Washington, and Illinois. That's a pretty damn good tier two. And I think, in my opinion, they really hadn't had that much depth. There were some teams that definitely had jumped in, maybe have dropped out. I think USC has stepped up. Washington has continued to develop with Jed Fish. I think Iowa has always been a consistent tier two, but some people had argued they're the best tier two. Now, I don't believe that's the case. I think, honestly, for the sake of the argument, Penn State dropping from tier one to tier two has bolstered this area. And then Illinois has grown to be a consistent threat as well. Do I still feel the same way in terms of top to bottom? The top team in the SEC could lose to the bottom team. I don't feel that with the Big Ten. But then again, we get into the same conversation where I think the SEC has a ton of tier two programs, a ton of them. It's damn near half the conference, but no one's really elite. No one's has taken the firm grasp of the wheel of the conference. Once again, you can make the argument for Georgia because they've won it back-to-back years, which has been impressive in their own right. But Texas, especially this past season, was expected to be that team in the SEC. Then they didn't even make the conference championship. Alabama has been in flux ever since Nick Saban left. Kirby Smart has been one constant, but they haven't been this elite version of themselves to the same comparison of an Indiana, Oregon, or Ohio State. A&M has grown to be very good, but they're a strong tier two team. We all agree to that. Same could be said for Oklahoma, Ole Miss, and all these different teams. They're all strong tier twos. LSU, a strong tier two as of right now. Now, is there a ton of potential for them to be able to match the tier one? And then we're right back in the conversation of which conference is better. Absolutely. Texas has the upside in the talent acquisition and the coaching and everything and all the ingredients that you could be looking for a tier one SEC team. When you think of one, you know exactly what you're going to get. Same thing could be said for Georgia. They still have the best coach in all of college football in the talent acquisition and all the resources. Alabama, same thing can be said for them. A&M, someone could step up, but they need multiple teams to do so. The same way I was saying that the Big Ten needed multiple teams to step up in the tier two to really bolster the 18-team conference from top to bottom. And I just don't think the SEC, if the gap is shortening on both sides of the coin in terms of the talent acquisition and retainment and the development, if that's getting closer, the tier two gap is getting closer. And then you have the top end success and the accolades. And the only real argument that the SEC still has is maybe they still have the edge in the talent acquisition, and maybe they still have the edge from not having the worst teams. I just don't think that's enough legs to stand on to say one conference is better than the other when you have national championships of 3 straight seasons from 3 different programs on one side of the coin. You pair that with the tier two being closer to yours, the big top end teams, and everything baked in on that side. I have to say the Big Ten's the best conference of college football. I think from top to bottom, as the building blocks of a program, they are checking every single box that we used to apply to the SEC. I can't be stubborn. I can't be Paul Feinbaum. I can't just be blindly saying that the blue and yellow and white logo, that just is the best in football. Do I think it still means more here and there's another level of passion and home environments with the SEC? Of course. You don't understand it till you get into the South. That's not to say you can't find it at Michigan and Ohio State, but it is a different level. The saying it just means more. I do agree to that, but it doesn't mean it's better. It doesn't mean that it's outright going to be better every single time. There's still so much work to be done. And I think it's only going to get more and more nasty with the 9-game SEC schedule, to be honest with you, especially with the one bye. Especially with the one bye. Oh, I cannot wait for it. It's going to be so toxic. And truthfully, I don't think a lot of people are ready for those conversations. I'm going to be so transparent with you. But nonetheless, I couldn't get to 30 minutes. I just couldn't. Like I said, it's been one of those days where you're just exhausted. So I will cut this one off. It's the off season. I appreciate anybody for watching this show and staying up to date with college football every single day, every week of the year. It means the world to me. With that in mind, I will see you guys. Peace.